This is the Agenda podcast for March the 23rd.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
G'day there, welcome along to the Export Beer Garden Studios with myself, G Lane, Manaia Stewart and Matt Heath. How the hell are you?
The dream team back together again for the first time.
Feels so right.
Yeah, it does feel right, eh?
Yeah.
Is this a sport podcast or what are we doing this?
Wow, animal husbandry, sport,
Oh, yeah,
bit of sexual health, but should we get straight into it? It's called the Agenda, so let's get into the agenda.
Just get into the agenda.
Razor Ray, say Razor Ray. Razor Ray, say Razor Ray. Got announced as the All Black coach. It was a press conference in Wellington, a usual dry balls affair.
Yep.
From the New Zealand Rugby Union.
Does anyone look less comfortable in a suit than Razor Ray?
Well, he even talked about it in that interview. It was just like, there's a second consecutive day I've had to wear a suit.
Yeah, nothing like you can see it. It doesn't work with his neck, and he's just so uncomfortable. Hey, I love Razor Ray, but it's kind of ruined the Razor Ray for me. This.
Why?
Because we wanted Razor Ray when they should have put Razor Ray before they went to Fozzie, and now they've kind of screwed over Fozzie. So Razor Ray doesn't come in as the hero that he should have been, and it just sort of diminishes the great. It's just not as good as it could have been if they just put him in there in the first place.
I think it's a hollow victory, do you?
I do, because I've campaigned hard and long for Razor Ray, and by that I've mentioned it about twice in this podcast. But now, I don't know. Does anyone else get that feeling? It's not as cool as it could be. It's so cool to have him as the All Blacks coach, but it could have been cooler because now there's all these questions like, so how's Fozzie run a team? Like, how well do you work in a job when you know you're leaving and you know who your replacement is?
Are you asking me directly? Because I know I've been in this exact situation.
I'm asking you directly, Manaia.
Let me tell you, being sacked 6 months before your replacement comes in is a massive dick shrinker. So I don't know how that helps Fozzie.
Should we bring Mike Lane in on that sacking of you?
I don't know.
It wasn't a sacking, okay? Let's be clear. It was a contract was up. The contract was expiring. Okay.
There were allegations of commentary enhancing drugs as well, which we've talked about. I've signed an NDA on that, so I can't comment on that.
Exactly. So it wasn't technically a firing, but I could see how your motivation would have lacked.
It does. So that kind of the whole thing's is a little bit confusing because you had the perfect coach.
Yeah.
And then that was clear to everyone apart from you, talking about the rugby union. And then they're about to rumble him, and then there's one good result.
Yeah.
So they don't run him. The press conference is booked. Razor Ray's going to come in, and then they change their mind because they're too scared to do that.
Oh, but he's still coming in, but not right now. He'll come in
right now. And
afterwards.
Then he's coming in after the thing, but not quietly. They're going to announce it before the World Cup.
Meanwhile, Fozzie's on his knees with a gun to his head going, please don't do this. Yeah. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. And bang, they've done it.
Fozzie's over in Europe. He's waking up to a whole lot of text messages. They've announced Razor Ray.
Speaking of which, did you hear the question in the press conference when someone from the gathered media asked the question, has anyone told Ian? And listen to the gap. Now, there is quite a pregnant pause there between Mark Robertson and the
Dame Patsy
Reddy, where they're like,
what does he know?
Oh, he's in Paris.
I mean,
he's in Paris.
The thing about knowing is we've told him, but whether he knows, that's a whole different thing. Like, we've sent him a text. It depends on whether he's watching this press conference right now.
Do you think it's a difference between people? Some people have firm fundamentals, so they know exactly what to do in any situation. I think that's the situation now, where it's like with the rugby union, if you make a decision for a coach, you stick with them. So you've made the decision with Fozzie, so you've got to stick with it, right? And then if you make a decision to roll him, you've got to stick with that.
Yeah.
And then you've got to make the decision to replace him. You've got to stick with not announcing it until after the World Cup. You know what I mean? It feels like, and if you're replacing someone, you text the person at least and tell them, I feel like there's some fundamentals that are missing.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's what you're looking for there is fundamental employment communication is what you're looking for there, because there's no other, if this was a private company, if this was a publicly listed, corporation, they would have been sued hard by both Ian Foster and Razor Ray.
The way they've treated both of them is freaking terrible.
It's been an embarrassment.
It's terrible. The way they've treated Fozzie Bear is so terrible.
I know, now Fozzie has got to go to a World Cup. I mean, he's already come out and said, look, I'm not interested in the job post-World Cup, because he's obviously already been told that he's not going to.
But just because he was being waterboarded by them constantly about it. And
But is this the best thing for Fozzie? Because he was going to go into this World Cup as the villain, lost all those games last year. He now gets to go and everybody feels sorry for him. Don't you feel sorry for Fozzie today?
I love him so much.
Yeah. He's so cute.
He's the best of us. That's what I mean. That's why they needed to just get Razor back in the day, because now we've got mixed emotions about the whole thing.
I still want to like Razor. He hasn't done anything wrong.
He's done nothing wrong.
I feel so bad for Fozzie.
That's what I mean. If you have a firm moral compass and some fundamentals, then you don't make mistakes like this and you don't mistreat people.
And do you realise that if the All Blacks win the World Cup, and following from precedents from past World Cups, they're going to have to knight him. They're going to have to. Sir Graham Henry.
Fozzie.
You know,
he won't turn it down either.
No, Sir Fozzie. And so how ironic would that be?
I wonder if he'll send Razor an invite. Oh, hey, I'm getting knighted on the weekend if you wanted to come along. Don't know if you're free. Up to you.
So you got Steve Hansen. He got knighted.
What is Fozzie doing in France? Does anyone know?
No, maybe he's just checking out the ACOM.
Yeah,
the ACOM.
Bit of a recce.
Bit of a recce on the. What's going on over there? Maybe he's doing a job interview.
He's got his ruler out and measuring how deep the buffet bins are to make sure there's enough over there. It's the other sort of side of this whole thing is post World Cup. If the All Blacks go into a decline for whatever reason, because there's going to be some retirements.
Yeah.
Then we've got so Fozzie wins the World Cup.
Yep.
And then they replace him with Razor Ray, and then we have a down period.
Yeah.
And what happens?
Yeah, but
we pile on.
We pile on.
We pile on.
We can't pile on Razor Ray.
Yeah, we have to. That's the rules.
Yeah,
That's
nothing makes us happy.
Nothing makes us happy.
So we can pile on?
It's in our genes. Total pile on.
So even though he's our boy?
Nah.
He's our boy?
Absolutely.
We can pile on?
He's our boy now.
He's our boy now,
Yeah,
but we can pile on?
Oh, the turntables.
Okay, we can turn the tables. Oh, good.
Massive
That's
hog
good.
pile.
That was the main thing I was worried about.
Yeah, okay, good.
Don't worry about that.
I thought we had to have some fundamentals ourselves. We don't.
No. Super Rugby. Probably the game of Super Rugby so far, and that was Blues Crusaders to not a packed house, but a pretty pumping crowd at Eden Park. It was great to see and great to hear a big crowd back. Unfortunately, the Blues didn't quite get it, 34-28. Controversial decision at the end of the game when Mike Hoskins Sotutu, where he belongs, out on the right wing,
Set him free.
Yeah, with a cross kick from Barrett. Look, the grounding was dubious, but having watched a lot of Super Rugby in the last 4 weeks, a lot of the kind of TMOs have given almost the benefit of the doubt to the try scorer that if there's any pressure on the ball, even if it seems to have been lost a little bit, if your forearm rolls over it, or if your penis is on top of it and it's causing downward pressure, then they give them the try. But for some reason, they didn't give this one. Now, you're a Crusaders.
I am.
Die hard.
I'm almost a closeted Crusaders fan because you don't hear me talk about it too much.
No, you don't.
You're from Waimate.
Yep, South Canterbury.
It's more sort of
It's
strong Otago vibes.
Yeah, well, the Waitaki River runs between Waimate and Oamaru.
We claim, us Otagoians, we claim Waimate.
So we're fighting for liberation. We'd like to annex ourselves from from Otago. But I think that on that grounding thing, what Super Rugby could learn from the NRL is the NRL rules strictly on vibe. So it's not to the letter of the law.
I love vibe.
So if you knock a ball down, if you go to catch a ball and you drop it, but it could have gone backwards or marginally flat, they're just like, nah, you fucked it up, so that's a knock on. It's the other guy's ball. You did the wrong thing. You fucked up. You fucked up, so it's going to be the other team's ball. The clearest example is when they go to play the ball. If their shoulders aren't square or it just looks a little bit clunky, they're like, other team's ball.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the same in NFL when they talk about football moves. They go, he got the ball and then he had to have a clear football move, but they haven't really defined what that was. So
exactly.
It's got the vibe that you're still playing the game when you do it and you're not like discombobulated and all over the place and don't know where you are, or you're Arthur or Martha, then you don't get it. But if it's clear football intention...
I think vibe's dangerous.
I think
vibe. Look, I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there. NRL bunker hasn't got a great rep. Like I know what you're saying, Manaia, and I can understand why it's the vibe, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
I think vibe on forward passes as well. I think forward pass vibe is. I think it should be done on vibe because there's ones that are forward technically, but you're like the vibe was right.
Well, exactly. Again, in the NRL, that's not a forward pass. When was the last time you saw a forward pass in the NRL? It has to be blatantly like chest pass forward.
Or tackles. I mean, like a massive hit, it might be around the neck, but a good vibe.
I think vibe on that.
Good
vibe definitely on that. Like especially if 2 people are going for the ball and just out of pure dumb luck, one of them happens to clothesline the other one.
Yeah.
but the vibe wasn't. It wasn't
the Mabo.
Yeah, the Mabo's right on it. But also, can I just, on this point of that win against the Crusaders, I was at the ground. Man, it was a fantastic situation at Eden Park. I think Nick Sautner went to see one Breakers game, and he's like, let's
do this.
In fact, I know, I was talking to his wife, and he said, let's try and make it as more like basketball as possible. So the hype there was really, really good. It was getting American sport level. It was such a great... It was so good there. There was one issue. They've got... all the flags to run around with the Blues, red Blues.
Each one I've got a letter, haven't they?
Yeah. And S was dangerously unfit, so he was dragging behind. And there was little things that need to be ironed out. And if that's the case, you got a slow guy, you get him going first, you get him on the B, you don't have him on the S. You
bench
know what
him. No, you got to bench him.
You can't. Send him down to reserve grade. He knows what he's done. Right. Work on a couple of things.
Because you can't send the S in first, otherwise it's slibbit.
Yeah. That's
maybe send him down to a high school game, first 15 game.
But my thing at their ground, and I was furious. I was furious at that ref. I couldn't actually see what had happened. I wasn't in a position to do the replay, so I'm glad to know that there was some area because I humiliated myself.
Where were you?
I was just in.
Where were you?
I was in the East End.
How much is a beer at Eden Park these days?
Yeah.
I was in a corporate box quite a while, quite a ways from the situation. Anyway, I did make a lot of people feel uncomfortable, and especially people that were wearing expensive jewellery and how passionate I got about that Hoskins Sotutu.
Because you were actually watching the game.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else in the box.
There's so few people watching the game. But anyway, that's by the by. So I'm glad there is some controversy there. But the thing I want to say is, would it kill the freaking Crusaders to lose that game? Would it?
Throw us a bone.
Throw us a freaking bone. People were so excited. Everyone was hyped up. It was this huge thing. It was this huge crowd. It was such a great event. And if the Crusaders could have lost that game, it would have... The next game at Eden Park would have been full, and there was this real momentum would have come around the situation.
What's the motivation for the Crusaders? If you go into the locker room and you're like, do you know how many people would be here next week if you guys through this? They'd be like, I don't give a fuck. We're taking this win and we're going to take the whole competition. Well, the other thing is on the crowd.
The coach is leaving for the All Blacks. He doesn't give a shit. He's out the door.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Jack it in this year. Last year, when the Blues started going on a little bit of a run towards the end there, I went to a couple of their home games, and the more wins they got, the more they started, piling on. Then they lost one. Then they think they played the Highlanders here, and there was no one there. They're a very fickle crowd, the Blues crowd. They're a what have you done for me lately crowd.
Yeah, they are, because they've been hurt a lot over the years, and so they come from a place of hurt.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like what's an example, say, people can turn around in their life, and like maybe you've got a drinker in your family, and then you start jumping on board, inviting them to more and more things, and then they start drinking again, and you're like, you're out again because we haven't forgotten. We're willing to give you a chance. But the Blues have.
So they're the drinker? The Blues are the drinker?
They're the drinker. There's been a lot of hurt from the Blues over the years, and so we will abandon them at the drop of a hat.
You seem quite passionate about the Blues.
Yeah, I am as a Highlanders fan.
Hey, I tell you who was excited about that game. And that is the Sky Sport 1 commentary. Obviously, we're on Sky Sport 9. Motherfuckers, they're starting to steal our lingo. Listen to this.
Assistant coaches? Well, a heavyweight battle out there, a bit of a ding-dong battle between two good teams.
Hey.
Yeah, it is being
Come on, man.
But do they have the guts to fire up? Yeah, ding-dong.
No, they don't.
No, who's the real alternative commentary at this point?
Yeah, exactly. Cricket. So the test match wrapped up on Monday. And within 4 days at the Basin Reserve, a pretty comprehensive in the end innings victory. Did feel a little bit hollow though, didn't it?
Well, you've had the two most exciting test matches in the history of test cricket, not just New Zealand, but of all time. Maybe the 2021 when we won the World Test Championship, that was pretty freaking exciting. But just general team touring New Zealand, beating England and Sri Lanka like that. And then you have a team refusing to die, a zombie test match, I'll call it. We all know what the result's going to be.
Yeah.
Just have the freaking decency, Sri Lanka, to hit it round and just try a few things.
But declare.
You just get out of there. We all know what's going on. It's not a checkmate.
Yeah.
And it's not a stalemate. It's over. Yeah. You've lost. Just get it the frick out of there.
Yeah, protect your averages and just declare. Just say, look, we've lost this game. All that's going to happen is we're going to waste a day of all of our lives, all of our careers, and that's exactly what it did. And I think, Lane, that's why you feel so hollow about this victory.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Despite the fact that it was such a comprehensive victory, we won by follow-on. That's something that we should celebrate.
Totally.
But when you watched every single ball of it, it was just like watching someone die in slow motion. I don't know if you've watched All Quiet on the Western Front, but that guy that he strangles with the mud.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, that's so
what we did to them.
Well, I'd like to reference another movie, Gladiator, when he asked for a soldier's death.
Yeah.
And Sri Lanka should have asked for a soldier's death. Just turn around and, I mean, we know what Maximus did, though, didn't he? He turned the whole thing on the He asked for a soldier's death, and the next thing he's killed everyone and stole their horse. But that's by the by.
It's us as fans that were asking for the graceful death, weren't we? The soldier's death.
And also I noticed, because I was watching on Spark Sport, and I noticed that the ACC withdrew all its resources, and there was just Tony Lyle and Sonia Gray.
Yeah, we had some issues because what happened was...
you pulled all resources.
Well, what happened was... Okay, I'll be honest with you, I never schedule commentators on day 5 of a test match, but this was day 4, and we got 2 quick wickets. In the first 2 overs, they lost 2 wickets.
So you sent everyone home.
So they were 5 down, pretty much. And then I said, I can pick up the kids this afternoon. And other people in Di was like, yeah, I can play last man stand. So everyone made bookings. And then, fuck me down, no one got out. It got up to the tea break. I was like, oh, shit, the bed. So at 5 o'clock, I'm like, guys, I'm going to have to go. Di had to go play LMS. I had to go, and I was like, sorry, Tony, sorry, Sonia, it's on you. That was on me. There was a bit of a scheduling. We've been known to call games early.
Yep.
And I mean, the result was the same. I called it. It's just the fucking Sri Lankans farted around.
I've got to say, Tony Lyle, he's a fantastic broadcaster. So good to have him on the ACC. But the relief. In fact, no, actually, it's important for a commentator to sort of share the feelings, express the feelings that people at home are watching. And just the amount of relief.
He's like, thank God.
It was like with Granddad, who's been suffering for a long time, has finally passed.
He's in a better place.
We're
all in a better place.
We can sort out the funeral. We can move forward.
Are we back? Are we disbanding the Black Cap Supporters Support Group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Black Cap Supporters Support Group is always looking to disband.
I know. I think...
It's always looking to disband.
I'm going to throw it out. There might be controversial. I think the Black Cap Supporters Support Group should still potentially have an email. We should still email each other because the one day and T20 series still to come.
Yeah.
So maybe the end of the series.
So keep the booking at the Greyland Community Centre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't cancel.
Don't drop out of the WhatsApp group.
Yeah. Okay.
And
that's good. Okay. Because I think we should always be on high alert.
But of course, I mean, you have been rattled, haven't you? For shorting the market by selling Black Cap Supporter Sports t-shirts when we were down instead of the ship hats when we were up.
Absolutely.
You're shorting the market.
Someone has to. Hey, a huge shout out to David Hall, who's a massive ACC fan.
Yep.
He took to Sky Sport Cricket Fans Facebook group. I didn't even know there was such a group.
Neither.
It's up there with the Te Aratu Peninsula Community Facebook group and the Devonport Community Facebook group, I imagine. David Hall says, very annoyed with Spark Sport. Well, you're on Sky Sport Cricket Fans, you fuckwit. Having lame comedians commentating on a game trying to be funny. I could not get normal coverage team.
That's on you, David Hall.
Yeah.
You could not. I mean, it's easy. It's so much easier to get the normal coverage than the non-normal coverage.
You could.
And there's a big picture of the ACC on the button you have to press for us. And then there's a big picture of the normal.
And the normal one's first. So you've clicked past the normal one. So you've gone.
Default.
Yeah.
You've gone past the default
8 times.
Yeah,
unless someone in David Hall's family has been watching the ACC because they're the little default.
His wife, David Hall's wife.
I think you're on. No, I think someone younger in his family because he's broadcasting his own excuse me, bit of light delta. His own inability to change the channel on his own setup. So someone younger has had to do this for him, and they've gone, it'd be funny if we got Uncle David and we just chucked him on the ACC and then didn't change it back.
And just watch him get on Sky Sport Cricket Fans Facebook page and go ape shit. Anyway.
No, ironically, it's harder to post that to that specific page than it is to change the channel back to the normal one.
I've told this before, but when Back of the Y television was on TV3 in 2008, someone fell asleep, an old person fell asleep in front of the TV, woke up, and someone had come in and changed it through to TV3, changed the channel on them. They woke up. So while they were asleep, we found the story. The granddad had fallen asleep on the couch. He woke up. Someone in the interim had been changed channels, and he rang the police. So it was so disgusting that he rang 111 and made a police complaint.
That's good.
Yeah, and the police actually contacted TV3 and they had a chat to us about it and everything, and the police found it so funny and TV3 found it so funny. But imagine that you see a TV show so bad
that you call
the police.
Well, David Hall, tune in this Saturday from 2 p.m. this Saturday, the One Day International. Spark Sport will be covering that. Call the police.
Yeah.
Call the police this weekend if you can't deal with it.
111.
Rugby League, the Warriors.
Rugby League.
How hard are you, Manaia Stewart?
Yeah, I'm throbbing. And it's 2 from 1. Famously, the Warriors are undefeated when Alternative Commentary Collective commentates their games. They have not lost one yet.
Wow.
Because
we sat out week 2 because there was a clash there, and it was just happened to be the Roosters.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, look, potentially we could... there are allegations that we could heavily impact the Warriors' seeding come the end of the season by what games we choose to commentate and what games we choose not to. This game, though, we talk about the Black Caps strangling Sri Lanka. The Warriors strangled the North Queensland Cowboys up there in North Queensland. It was about 36 degrees when they were playing, and they looked like the away team, not us.
It was great. It was great.
It
was great, boring footy, wasn't it? They shut it out because normally
that's what we want from the Wawas. We want some boring footy.
Yeah.
They've got exciting footy. They've had that sorted for years. Exciting footy, boring footy is what they need.
They've got the razzle dazzle.
Yep, and they still have that. They didn't throw that away. They lead the league in line breaks at the moment, the Warriors. So they've got like this monster forward pack with players that are still yet to come back. They've got Josh Curran, who was in talks for State of Origin last year. He's playing in reserve grade because he punched some bloke out at a pub over in Australia over the off season. I think they're just kind of trying to let that one sort of die by the wayside. But when he comes back in, I mean, this forward pack is out of control, and it's finally, as a Warriors fan, other teams fear the Warriors when they show up. Like, we may not beat you, but you'll feel it the next day, and that's all we want, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what you want. I was talking to a notable rugby union player who was, and he was in charge of strategy, and he said there's a lot of talk in the media about what strategy people bring to All Blacks games, and he said the only thing they ever say is knock C's on their back. That's all they ever talked about. Knock C's on the back. That's what you got to do.
Knock the next Tuesday on the back.
Knock cunts on the back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's really that's the main thing, right?
Yeah.
And league particularly, you got to knock cunts on their back.
Well, it's a very simple game, isn't it? It's just giant sacks of meat running at other giant sacks of meat.
Yeah, well, they like you said, they choked it out. They choked them out. They got the full Hutchings on them. They need to work on the Hutchins, close out games till they're unconscious.
But that's exactly what they did.
And take the W.
Yeah, absolutely. The reverse Cowgirls, they scored twice in the first 20 minutes, and then after that, they didn't see our try line again. And there were times at the end of the game where, in the past, the Warriors would have just been like, oh, look, have that try. We're going to win anyway. And they didn't. And that is very hard.
Were they completing sets?
Oh, they were completing sets.
Were they completing sets?
You want to talk about completion rate?
Completion rate.
Oh, yeah. They were completing. My completion rate was high as well.
So, Mad Monday commentary is back Sunday, 4 p.m. on Sky Sports 6. Di Henwood and Chris Key have
you soundproofed Studio B for this?
They'll be in Studio A, actually, because at 3:30, I'll be calling the Super Rugby game at 3:30.
Is that with me?
I think it is.
Is it with us?
Yeah. I think we're in here and they're in B.
Oh, that's what's happening, is it?
Yeah.
So the Wawas have been moved to Studio A. That's huge for the Wawas. And the Super Rugby's been moved to B.
No, I've got that wrong. We start first, so they're in.
Oh, okay. Well, then we need to soundproof the wall from Di Henwood because it's a lot.
None of the studios are soundproofed, so it's not going to be an issue anyway.
It's just glass between all of us.
There's no soundproofing that can quieten Di Henwood when there's league all over his face.
Big news, fellas. The Agenda has been named as a finalist for Best Sports Comedy Podcast in the world.
What?
That's this podcast.
But yeah, it is this podcast.
In what world?
In the Globe.
In the global podcast thing?
Yeah, best. Yeah, it has been.
Is it?
But you have to get votes from your listeners. So this is an issue for us.
Agenda vote.
Because no one listens.
So you need to text Agenda Vote, one word, to 3236 and you'll get the link to vote. So Agenda Vote, one word, to 3236. And you'll get the link to vote. Up against some pretty big heavyweights, but it'd be good if, come on, Kiwi, we're the only Kiwi podcast in there.
Is there some barstool activity in there?
There's lots of Australian ones as well. Australians. Yeah.
Australians.
Disgusting.
But that's great. We'll feather in our cap, the best sports comedy podcast in the world. I mean, surely it's not, though.
No. I think it's someone's just got the domain name and said it's the world. But we'll take it.
Oh no! I mean, I'm not undermining the competition. I'm undermining us.
Oh yeah, no. If we win, it's a travesty.
But that would be great to get us the win.
Even a podium.
When we don't deserve it.
Even a podium.
I
wouldn't mind a podium.
Oh, have you ever seen the meme of the guy standing on third place on the podium, just spraying the fuck out of everyone else on there? That'd be us.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Agenda vote. To 3236.
Yeah,
Let's spray the other guys. Let's spray it all over the other two.
Fellas, what gave you a wide on in the sporting week?
Well, we've already discussed it for me. It's the Warriors strangling out, just choking out, chucking a pillow over the top of the Cowboys and snuffing them out. That's got me wide.
Yeah, I have to go Chiefs Mana. Chiefs Mana are 4 from 4.
Not the Mulu men, though.
Not the Mulu men, you can't do that. But mind you, there's a lot of fans with cowbells there.
There's a crossover.
So there is a crossover. I mean, McConey's, he gets a bit funny about the Mulu Chief crossover, but they're one and the same.
I called them that on the commentary the other day, and I was promptly corrected by James McConey, and I apologise.
But no, it was. I'm loving seeing the Chiefs Mana. I think they're going to take it all the way. I think it's going to be a Chiefs Blues final. Chiefs taking it out at FML Stadium. That's my.
Well, what's exciting me is new Dodgers signing Gavin North. Look how disgusting, how nasty he's pitching. He's in relief at the moment, but we definitely need some pitching staff.
Good action
because one of us was basically involved in a horrific alleged sexual assault. So the Dodgers still having to pay him, but he's been moved to Japan. So we're really looking for pitching staff.
Where you send all good sex best.
Yeah, they were happy to take him. He's toxic right through America, and instantly Japanese team said
Tokyo Swallows. I've been to the Tokyo Swallows game, and I could just not stop laughing when
baseball
game. And they're all chanting Swallows. So Swallows.
Trevor's gone, but this Gavin Stone, I think he's got starter potential there, and that's really exciting me as we come up to opening day is coming very soon. I've got my Dodgers tattoo. I'm getting booked on opening day.
Oh yeah.
And are you?
Yeah.
Are you a Dodgers tattoo?
Yeah,
Champions 2023.
That's always a good one.
No, it'll be that kind of logo they've got that looks like it was designed by a 15-year-old in 1890, which is just sort of the Dodgers written there with a baseball sort of coming through it.
Where are you getting it? On your throat?
I'm getting it on
forehead. On your forehead.
Wow. On your underarm.
And the inside a little bit there, yeah.
Oh, on your bicep.
On your bicep.
Yeah, bicep, yeah.
Very good. Do you know what? Yeah, this is...
Dodgers hard. And also, I'll also be getting the Blues and the Highlanders tattooed on my one on each ball.
A little bit of kind of backhouse admin. I mean, I used to manage Radio Hauraki, and for those who don't know, when you're managing, you get everyone's cell phone bills, and you get everyone's individual cell phone bill. If you stay within the data cap, you just get a number. So I think the plan at the moment for most of Hauraki is like a $40 plan. Quite a lot of data in that. Most people don't go over the data cap, but there's one person that sticks out and goes at least 3 or 4 times over the data cap, and it always aligns with the start of Major League Baseball, and that is Matthew Heath.
Yeah. Well, in my defence, there's 182 games to watch a year, and they're over 3 hours.
That's a lot of data.
So that is going to rip through a data plan.
And your Wi-Fi is not the sharpest.
No.
It doesn't quite reach the front room.
And I'm watching while I'm driving, so...
And I've run cover for you so many times, because why is he started? I was like, we've been away a lot. He's uploading a lot of videos. And we've been away a lot, and, he's been doing emails and stuff. And sometimes he has to broadcast from his phone because the Wi-Fi's not good enough, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah.
Like, at one point, they started trying to shame me by listing the top 5 data users in the company, and they put me at number 1. They said, you were actually number 1. And I was like, yes. Well, am I supposed to feel bad about that? Like, what do I lose from being the number 1 data user in the company?
You started spraying champagne all over them.
Yeah, I thought I'd won a competition. I thought I was going to turn up to an award ceremony.
Yeah, number 1.
Turned out they were going to confiscate my phone, but I will not change. I will not change for anyone.
Attendance required this week. There's another absolute. There's sport all up the walls, dripping from the ceiling, all over my chin this weekend. The white ball begins. Black Cap Sri Lanka, 2 p.m. Saturday, Eden Park, but we're live commenting that on Spark Sport. But also there's Super Rugby on Friday night. There's Super Rugby Friday Arvo. There's Super Rugby Friday night again, all on Sky Sport 9. And then Sunday, a good old 3:30 kickoff on Sunday for some Super Rugby. And the Warriors, Sky Sport 6 at 4:30 p.m. on Sunday as well. She's a busy weekend.
Also, first proper home game for the Wars as well. First time they'll be at Mount Smart.
What Ticket sales good? Ticket sales good for this one?
I imagine they would be.
Yeah.
I'm looking to go along. 4 o'clock in the afternoon is just a tremendous time for a rugby league
Especially
game.
this time of year when it's still warm. It's so good out there.
And there's the cricket's on in Auckland as well. It's actually all go in Auckland.
And that's for Cyclone Gabrielle. Not for Cyclone Gabrielle, for the damage caused by Cyclone Gabrielle.
Yeah, I think...
all the proceeds from the ground are going.
I think ANZ are coming on board and doing something for them.
Having a few $1 million Gizzy's way. Good on them.
Hey, big news. Big news for the agenda. From Monday, the agenda is going daily.
Jesus Christ.
The daily agenda.
How good is this? And who will be running that daily agenda?
Well, all of us at some stage, but Manaia will be running the cutter every day on that.
Yep.
What it is Manaia?
Well, we're basically just hanging out the back of the sporting news, giving you a bit of ammo to take with you to the water cooler, maybe a line or two to take with you to the pub.
A what?
Sorry?
A line or two to take you to the pub.
Yeah. We'll give you lines to take to the pub.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
It's
share
bound
with
to
your
succeed.
friends.
It's
Okay,
bound to
wow.
succeed.
Yeah, okay, no, this is going to go well.
Tell Pablo Escobar that doesn't work.
So you'll notice on your feed, obviously, if you've subscribed, liked and subscribed, you'll notice on Monday through to Friday, you'll get a daily podcast update. It'll be 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Max, Manaia, latest sports news, comments in there. But you'll still get the full length. Every Thursday, you'll get the full-length agenda. This
good.
is just the tip.
Yep.
So you get the tip agenda for 5 days, and then you get the full length.
So hang on, some days there's going to be a tinny and a loggy.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's right.
Double dipping.
Double dipping, that's for sure.
My question for you, Manaia Stewart, is have you invested in any fishermen's friends?
No. Should I?
Because you're almost broadcasting as much as G Lane now.
Yeah.
At the ACC. I mean, that's a high bar to meet.
I'm starting to discover that's what I've been brought in for, and it's terrifying.
What we've done is we've called it the tsunami of Manaia. And what we're doing with the tsunami is the audience, we're tsunamiing with the audience, and then we'll slowly, it'll pull back.
Yep.
And then you've got to watch out for the third wave.
Yeah,
The third wave's the
you've
biggest.
done this some before.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of them, and then suddenly there's none of them.
Yep.
Come on.
Let's
not bring that up.
People
okay?
for the last wee while have been out there collecting fish flopping around on the dry foreshore, and not. If they just put their heads up, they'd see the wave is coming back in, so that's going to crash into shore on Monday.
Is this going to be a Fukushima nuclear power plant situation?
With any luck, yeah.
I hope not. Jeez. All right, well, thanks for joining us. That's the agenda for this week. Tune in Monday for the Daily Agenda.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartradio or wherever you get your podcasts.